Welcome to the Happy Cynics, everybody. This is Dr. K with you. I'm going to fly solo here today. Maybe just take a few minutes here before Thanksgiving and just talk a little bit with you, kind of heart to heart, about being thankful. Gratitude is something that we could work a little better at. I think there are a lot of folks that are still grateful today, but it's always something we can always work at getting a little better at. So I'd just like to talk to you a little bit about being thankful. There's a lot of things in life for which we can be thankful. Just life itself. I think about people that I knew who, just even a few years older than me, who died during COVID. Other folks, you just think about how fragile life is. We often talk about the improbabilities of life evolving on any planet, and then yet we sometimes forget that as we live our lives and just kind of take life for granted, as though it's just going to continue indefinitely. But we know that's not true. There's a certain sense where just being a grateful person is a person who embraces life. I think of the Stephen Sondheim song, Being Alive. Now, of course, a lot of that song has to do with sharing life with others, especially somebody special. But just the idea of relishing in being alive and being able to enjoy life. There are so many folks that don't have that, and so many people whose lives are just cut short so tragically. We just got word that one of my mother-in-law's relatives fell down the steps and hit his head on the concrete and passed away. It can happen in an instant. We can't take life for granted. We should live each day to the fullest and enjoy life, but try to make life enjoyable for others as well. And then there's our health. The older you get, as health starts to decline, or let's say it becomes more difficult to maintain, you start to appreciate it a little more. But again, our health is something we take for granted. Having physical health, being able to move around, live without pain. You think about all the people that contribute to our physical health, being grateful to doctors and nurses, pharmacists, researchers, other kinds of healthcare workers, people who strive to keep us healthy, fighting disease, and those who try to help us to understand how to take care of our bodies, exercise and nutrition. And, health is something that once you lose it, it's difficult to get it back. We should be thankful for the health that we have. It's like the old adage. Somebody said, I complained I had no shoes until I met a man with no feet. We've all heard that. But it really is true. And mental health. That's something we're becoming more and more aware of these days, and that's a good thing. But yet it's also kind of sad when we start understanding the nature of, and we can't really prevent all kinds of dementia. We try to slow it down. But I remember my grandfather, Pat Boyce, my grandfather on my mother's side, who eventually passed away from Alzheimer's. And it really is sad when you see somebody lose their mental health and lose their memory and eventually lose their identity. We should not take our mental health for granted. And that's not only just being able to think cogently, but even emotional health and depression You think about how many people die of suicide every year. Sometimes there's physiological things with the body and the brain that really impact our emotional health. Some of that perhaps can't be helped. We're working on trying to address that all the time. But if you have your mental faculties, you can think, you can remember, who you are. Life makes sense to you. And if you are able to enjoy life relatively free of pain, that's something for which to be thankful. And we should try to be compassionate with those that struggle in these areas. Friendship is another important thing for which we should be thankful. None of us is really obligated to have to associate with other people. There have been people kind of become hermits over time, withdraw from others. But friendship is one of the most dear and important things. It's often said that the joys of life are not really that joyful unless you can share them with others. And having friends who walk the path with us, people we know are going to be there for us, people on whom we can rely and count on. And let's be thankful for the friends that we have, and let's try to be the kinds of friends for which others can be thankful. That's the other side of it. But just to offer friendship to people, this is something that we need to start doing more of. Instead of focusing on the differences we have with others, why not focus on what we do have in common with others? It's just so sad that so much of humanity paints the world as us against them instead of just a broader all of us together. It really is sad. I mean, is it really necessary for people to have such a contrast in worldview that we cannot embrace others in friendship, certain people? It just defies explanation. There's no reason why all human beings can't learn to be friends at some level. Success is another thing for which to be thankful. There's very few things that a person does in life that's entirely independent of the cooperation of others. Even if you start your own business, you have to have supporters, you have to have customers, you have to have patrons, you have to have people who are willing to cooperate with you. Almost everything that we achieve in life, we achieve with the help of other people. And let's be thankful for that. Let's be thankful for the people who got us where we are today. Let's be thankful for the people that made it possible. Success. Let's be thankful even that we can still set goals. Sometimes people reach a place in life, maybe later in life, maybe after illness sets in or something, where the goals become very constricted. Somebody's goal may be just getting out of bed every day and being able to walk to the bathroom on their own. And for those of us that have the ability to still set goals in our lives and to aspire to achieve more, even just that ability is something for which we should be thankful and not take for granted. And finally, love. Love is basically the social glue that holds us all together. Everybody wants to be valued and to feel important. We all strive for that. That's why, truthfully, I think the need to be loved and to feel important is really a lot of even behind our religious impulse. Because, and Okay, don't misunderstand me here. But let me say this. Sometimes people they have to solely rely on the religious impulse because they're not getting that kind of affirmation from others. I'm not saying that a person with a lot of friends has no need of God or religion or anything like that. But there are people that, for example, you see this in a lot of songs, say like Christian songs. It's like, Jesus is the only real friend I have. And that's such a sad commentary when you think about it. Everybody, there are very few people, let's put it this way, there are very, very few people who aren't lovable at some level. Every one of us was once a baby. Even at that point, we were at least lovable. We should always strive to be people of love and just simply have a genuine caring for other people and their well-being. What does it really cost us to just simply care, to make the little gestures, just to express some level of caring or compassion or concern, a deference to and a respect for others' feelings and perspective. I know there are people who carry that too far, and they wear their hearts on their sleeves, so to speak, and every little thing is going to offend them. But that shouldn't stop us from still loving people and trying to make a difference in the lives of others. Well, that's kind of the what of being thankful. There's many other things I could name. I just kind of wanted to hit some of the basic things, but why? Why should we be thankful? I mean, don't really have to be. But I think there's a couple good reasons, and they're pretty simple. First is to smell the roses while we live life. Life is too short. You know, you can go through life focusing on it. It's like you can spend your life looking at how the glass is half empty instead of appreciating how the glass is half full. There's a sense where we need to stop and smell the roses. Gratitude, being grateful, being thankful is a part of that. You know, you can go through life as an old sourpuss and dwell on all the injustices of the past or on what you don't have. But in the end, you end up hurting yourself more than you hurt anybody else. We need to always be fighting for justice and standing up for others, standing up for ourselves when necessary. But when we dwell on the negative, we just rob ourselves of a lot of the pleasures of life. So enjoy life. Be thankful. Be grateful for what you have. And then give credit where credit is due. I've already kind of mentioned this. In this sense, we tip our hats backwards. Tip our hats backwards to thank those that have helped us along the way, those that have meant something to us. It's nice to remember people after they're gone, but isn't it even much better to honor them while they're still living and give them the roses? There's an old country song, a country hymn, gospel song, I guess would be the best way to say it. To give them the roses while they live, okay? Not after they're gone. Let's give credit where credit is due, and then pay it forward. So there's living in the present, smelling the roses. There's tipping the hat backwards to the past, and then there's paying it forward. We should all be thankful, and in order to try to make things better for the future. And that's why gratitude is also important. Because by being grateful, we're helping to pave the way for those coming behind us. We're helping to make a better world, not only for those behind us, but even for ourselves. Being grateful, being a thankful person is a way of actually improving one's own life. Not only for your emotional well-being, but just to simply be the kind of person that other people enjoy, that other people want to be around, that other people want to share their lives with. Okay? Well, how can we be thankful? Oh, there's all kinds of ways, but I'll just mention a few. Some of them are pretty easy. I mean, just like a simple thank you. Just to say thank you. I really appreciate that. To let people know that you are grateful, that what the kindnesses that they do haven't gone unnoticed. To express our gratitude to others. It's such a small thing, but so important. We kind of joke about my father. When my parents were youth leaders, when I was a teenager, they were youth leaders for a few years when I was a teenager, not through my whole teen years, but for several years they were. And I remember we would have like a Christmas dinner at a restaurant. It was really a neat restaurant. It was a like conservative Mennonite, owned by a conservative Mennonite family, and it was all like family style. Everything was served family style, where they'd put the dishes on the table and you'd pass them and things like that. And then they also had other meals, you get alone, but they had both. And I remember, we would have, whenever there would be a teenager who didn't really have the money for the meal, my dad would pay out of his pocket. And he asked this one boy after the dinner, we had the dinner on Saturday, so the next day it's Sunday school at church. He asked the boy how he liked his meal, and he said it was fine. He said, "How'd you like the bill?" And we kind of chuckle about that now, but at the time, that really was kind of like a knife piercing my father's heart. Because I will say that was one thing I am appreciative of, is my family has always been pretty generous with others, on both sides. My grandparents, all four of my grandparents, were willing to give to other people and try to help. And that's an example my parents tried to follow as well. And what does it really take to say thank you? I appreciate you paying for my meal. That means something to me. I mean, is it really that difficult to do? Just to say thank you? It's pretty sad when we can't even be humble enough just to say thank you to somebody. Is that really a sign of weakness? No, I don't think so at all. The greatest people in history have often been those that were willing to acknowledge those who helped them and to just thank them. And then we can just show other people that we care. For instance, do we take the time to listen to other people? I know there's limits to all of these things. Don't get me wrong. How many people, when they're talking to somebody, are already thinking about what they want to say? I know some of this is kind of involuntary and we can't help it, but even showing other people we care, like taking the time to listen to people, to pay attention to other people. How can we show other people that we care when we can't even pay attention to people? I mean, really, do we think that just throwing money or handshakes at people are really going to make a difference? I mean, they do sometimes, but if you really care about somebody, it's like I remember. It's like, do you talk to the person that nobody else wants to have a conversation with? Are you willing to have that conversation? Let them go on talking about what it is they talk about, but just to show other people that we care. And there's other just kind of little gestures we can do just to remind people, say, hey, how's your mother doing? I heard she was sick, you know, or, people say, oh, hey, I'm still praying for you. Or, how's your son or daughter doing? That's deployed overseas with the military. Just to pay attention to what's going on in the lives of other people is a way of expressing gratitude and being thankful. Thanking people for their service. We're quick to point out when we don't like something, but it's like, I don't know, maybe this would be going too far, but it's just like if you've ever been pulled over for speeding, just being thankful that the officer treats you respectfully, even though you were speeding. Just say, officer, thanks for, being kind about this. I'm sorry. And I've been pulled over by some where that was the case. And then I've been pulled over by others that, I remember one time getting pulled over by a state trooper in Ohio, and he was not very kind about it, and was rather arrogant and kind of a smart aleck. But I just sat and listened. Whenever you experience something like that, and believe me, there's people that experience a lot worse than that. But whenever we are treated with respect, do we say thank you? Thank you for respecting me. I will try not to be a problem in the future. But to just show other people we care and that we appreciate what they do. And then show other people that they're important. How much of a priority are other people? Do we really let them know how important they are? Not by just what we say, but even by what we do. That's a way of showing gratitude. And finally, this will be my last point. Invest in others. Invest in other people. We invest in all kinds of things, but the best investment is to invest in people. Invest in others as a supporter. That's kind of the baseline. When people are giving to a good cause, when a charitable organization is using its money well and wisely, then those are, and they're using it for a good cause, we can support what they're doing. We can try to support and encourage others, lend our resources, our time, our money, our energy. But then on a more personal basis, there's two other ways that we can invest in others. First, as a mentor. All of us have had mentors, people who have shaped and molded and guided us. And as we become adults, one of the best ways of showing gratitude is by becoming a mentor to the younger people behind us. Try to help them, not be a mentor to basically be worshipped or idolized or be viewed as a superior, but as a helper, somebody who empowers others, somebody who is able to help others with practical insight and wisdom and encourage them. But be a mentor. Invest in somebody that you can shape and mold and help to reach their full potential. And then finally, invest in others as a friend. We live in a day of social media, and that's awesome that we can keep in at least casual contact with so many people at once and be aware of the basic things going on in each other's lives. But let me ask you, all this time we spend on social media, are we taking time to invest in friendship? Because that requires one-on-one time. There's no substitute for it. There is no shortcut to friendship. It really has to do with investing our time, our emotions, our energy into those that we call friends. And to be a friend to somebody else requires something on our part. A friendship is only going to be worth what's invested in it by both parties. You know, if to the extent that both parties invest in one another, that friendship becomes more and more valuable. And so if you want to have a good friendship, the best way to find a friend is to be a friend. And sometimes we can reach out to others and they may not or may not be willing. They may not be able or willing to reciprocate. There are some people, but there are some people who just won't. They won't take the time to invest back in you. But, you know, keep reaching out and find the people who do respond. I'm not saying keep spending hour after hour after hour trying to build friendships with people who don't really want to be closer friends. Or the kind of friendship they want is one where they receive, but they take, but don't give much in return. And so I'm not suggesting to you that we kind of take this lightly and just go around spending all of our time serving other people. But find the people who are willing to reciprocate and invest in them. The people who are willing to invest in us, those are the people that are worth investing in. So I hope that with this Thanksgiving, that you will be able to enjoy the blessings that you have. Let's all enjoy our health, our sanity, the friendships, relationships that we have, the successes of the past year. But at the same time, let's also keep in mind those who will be hurting in some way. There will be some people that this year will be the first time around the Thanksgiving table that a chair is empty. And the best thing we can do to honor, well, to memorialize and to remember and to honor the memory of that person is to simply continue to reach out and bring others into our fold. You know, life is kind of like a sifting out process. Some people enter our lives and are only really important in our lives at certain phases of our lives. And then we kind of go our separate ways. But instead of just moving always away from people, find new people to take their place. You can always find people to have a circle of friends and to just kind of become that stable kind of person. I wish all of you a blessed Thanksgiving and health and happiness as we approach this holiday season. Take care, God bless, and we'll see you soon, or we'll talk to you soon. Take care.